The price of silence. Isaiah stood in the pre-dawn darkness outside the kitchen, watching the first pale light touch the eastern horizon. 3 days, 72 hours until the Bellmonts departed for Charleston, and everything changed. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for the water bucket, not from fear, but from exhaustion. He'd spent the night recalculating every detail for 8 people instead of 7, his mind running through supplies, routes, and timing until the numbers blurred together. The door behind him creaked open. Abigail emerged, moving with the quiet efficiency of someone who'd learned long ago that drawing attention meant danger. "You look like death," she said softly, taking the bucket from his hands. "When did you last sleep?" "Don't remember." Isaiah rubbed his face. "Need to talk to Moses before the others wake." Abigail nodded, understanding without asking. She'd been part of the plan long enough to know that when Isaiah looked this worn, something had shifted. He'll be at the forge soon as there's light enough to see. Isaiah made his way across the compound, his clerk's clothes still feeling foreign after weeks in the position. The better fabric, the leather shoes, instead of rough brogans. All of it marked him as different now, elevated in the colonel's eyes even as the weight of 8 lives pressed harder on his shoulders. The forge sat at the eastern edge of the compound, positioned to catch the morning light. Moses was already there, coaxing embers to life, his massive frame bent over the fire pit. He straightened when Isaiah approached, reading the exhaustion in his face immediately. "That bad?" 8 now, Isaiah said simply. Moses's expression didn't change, but his hands stilled on the bellows. "Who?" "Clara, field worker. She was at the chapel meeting. Must have followed someone. Heard enough to know what we're planning." Isaiah kept his voice low, though they were alone. "Came to me yesterday. Said she'll tell Crow everything unless we take her with us." Moses was quiet for a long moment, the only sound the soft crackle of kindling catching fire. "You believe she'd do it?" "Yes." Isaiah had spent the night considering every angle, every possibility. "She's desperate. Lost her man 2 years back, sold to Alabama. Got nothing keeping her here but fear, and she's finally decided dying free is better than living like this. Can't fault her for that." Moses returned to the bellows, pumping steadily. "But 8 changes everything. Supplies, timing, risk. I know. Spent all night working it through." Isaiah moved closer to the warmth of the growing fire. "We can do it. Barely. But there's no margin for error now. None." "Was there ever?" Moses's laugh was bitter. "We've been walking a razor's edge since the beginning." The compound began to stir around them. Doors opening, voices calling, the daily rhythm of enslaved life beginning again. Isaiah and Moses fell silent, their conversation over, but the weight of it settling between them like a physical thing. "I'll tell the others," Moses said finally. "They need to know before we run. Tonight, after dark, just you, Samuel, and Elijah. The women can't risk leaving their quarters again, not with Crow watching everything." Isaiah left Moses at the forge and made his way to the big house. The kitchen was already alive with activity. Abigail kneading bread, 2 other women working at the stove, the air thick with the smell of cooking. He passed through without speaking, climbing the back stairs to the colonel's study. The room was empty, the massive desk bare, except for the account books Isaiah had been maintaining. He settled into his chair and opened the ledger, forcing his exhausted mind to focus on the neat columns of numbers. Cotton yields, supply purchases, the endless accounting of human property. His own name appeared on one page with his new valuation, $500. The promotion to clerk had increased his worth by $300. Hannah was listed at $1,200. Moses at $1,600. They were all there, reduced to monetary values in careful script. Isaiah turned the page, unable to look at it anymore. The morning passed in a blur of paperwork and pretending. Colonel Bellmont came and went, pleased with Isaiah's work, oblivious to the fact that his trusted clerk was planning to rob him of over $8,000 in human property in 3 days' time. Mrs. Bellmont appeared twice, her pale eyes sharp with suspicion that never quite found purchase. She watched Isaiah work, asked pointed questions about his background, his family, anything that might reveal some crack in his facade. Each time, Isaiah answered with careful deference, playing the role of the grateful slave who understood how fortunate he was to serve such a fine family. It made him want to vomit. Lunch came and went. Isaiah ate mechanically at his desk, the food tasteless. His mind kept returning to the calculations. 8 people needed more food, more water, more everything. The first safe house was 30 miles north. Could they all make it in one night? Would they need to split into 2 groups? The questions spiraled endlessly. Afternoon brought a brief respite when the colonel left to inspect the final cotton harvest. Isaiah was alone in the study, surrounded by the trappings of wealth built on suffering. He pulled out the map he'd been studying for 2 years, now worn soft at the creases, and traced the route north with one finger. 30 miles to the Patterson farm, another 40 to the next safe house, then the long push through Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York. Every mile fraught with danger, patrollers, slave catchers, dogs, informants, and now they'd be moving slower, more visible, 8 bodies instead of 7 trying to disappear into the night. A soft knock at the door made him fold the map quickly and slide it beneath the account book. "Come in." Hannah entered carrying a tea tray, her movements careful and measured. Mrs. Bellmont followed 2 steps behind, watching her like a hawk watches prey. "Tea for you, Isaiah?" Hannah said, her voice perfectly neutral. "The colonel thought you might need refreshment." Their eyes met for the briefest moment, barely a heartbeat, but it was enough. Isaiah saw the fear there, the exhaustion that matched his own, and something else, determination. Whatever came in 3 days, they would face it. "Thank you," he said formally, taking the cup. Mrs. Bellmont lingered in the doorway. "You've been working very hard, Isaiah. The colonel is quite pleased with you." "I'm grateful for the opportunity, ma'am." "Yes, grateful." Her tone suggested she doubted his gratitude was genuine. It would be a terrible shame if anything were to disrupt the colonel's trust in you. He's invested considerable faith in your character. The threat was clear. Isaiah met her eyes steadily. "I understand, ma'am. The colonel's trust means everything to me." It was true, in a way. The colonel's trust was the only thing keeping Isaiah alive right now, the only reason he had access to the study, to information, to the freedom of movement that made the escape possible. In 3 days, he would betray that trust utterly, and the colonel would never understand why. Mrs. Bellmont studied him a moment longer, then swept from the room with Hannah trailing behind. Isaiah waited until their footsteps faded before allowing himself to breathe. The afternoon crawled toward evening. Isaiah worked until his eyes burned, maintaining the fiction of the diligent clerk while his mind traced escape routes and calculated odds. When the light began to fail, Colonel Bellmont returned and dismissed him for the day. "You look exhausted, Isaiah. Don't work yourself to death before we even leave for Charleston." "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." Isaiah returned to his small room behind the kitchen, every step an effort. He wanted nothing more than to collapse onto his pallet and sleep, but there was no time. He had to meet Moses and the others, had to make sure everyone understood the new reality. He forced himself to eat the cornbread and beans Abigail had left for him, knowing he needed the strength. Then he lay down and closed his eyes, not to sleep but to review everything one more time. 8 people. Moses could carry extra supplies. His blacksmith strength would be crucial. Mercy was elderly but determined, and she'd prepared medicines for the journey. Abigail was strong from kitchen work, and she'd carry Ruth when the child tired. Samuel and Elijah were young but tough from field labor. Hannah was slight, but had more endurance than her frame suggested. And Clara. Isaiah realized he knew almost nothing about her, except that she was desperate enough to risk everything. Was she strong? Could she keep pace? Did she understand what they were attempting, the odds stacked against them? Too late to worry about that now. She was coming, whether he liked it or not. Full dark came, and Isaiah rose. He slipped from his room and made his way through the shadows toward the tobacco barn, where they'd agreed to meet. The night was cool, the air carrying the first hint of autumn. In 3 days, this would be the weather they'd travel in. Cold, but not freezing. The nights long enough to cover good distance. Moses was already there, a dark shape in the darker barn. Samuel and Elijah arrived moments later, moving like ghosts through the gloom. "What's happened?" Samuel asked immediately. Moses said there's trouble. Not trouble exactly. Isaiah kept his voice low. But a change. There's 8 of us now, not 7. He told them about Clara, watching their faces in the faint moonlight filtering through the barn's gaps. Samuel's jaw tightened. Elijah looked worried. Moses remained impassive. "She'll slow us down," Samuel said flatly. "Maybe, maybe not. We don't know her capabilities yet." "Do we have a choice?" Elijah asked. "No." Isaiah was firm on this. "She knows everything. If we refuse, she goes to crow, and we all die. Simple as that." Samuel kicked at the dirt floor. "So we're being blackmailed into taking someone we don't know, someone who could get us all killed." "Yes," Isaiah didn't soften it. "That's exactly what's happening, and we're going to make it work anyway, because the alternative is staying here and dying slowly in chains." The silence stretched. Finally, Moses spoke. "The boy's not wrong to be angry, but Isaiah's right about the choice. We take her, or we don't run at all." "I can carry more," Moses continued. "Compensate for an extra person, and 8 might actually be safer in some ways. Harder for patrollers to believe 8 slaves are running together. Might think we're a work crew with papers." It was thin comfort, but Isaiah seized it. "Exactly. We make this work because we have to. 3 days, and everything changes. Are we ready?" One by one, they nodded. Even Samuel, though his anger was palpable in the darkness. "Good. Now get back before someone notices you're gone. Remember, 3 days. Not a word to anyone. Not a look, not a gesture. We're invisible until we run." They dispersed into the night, leaving Isaiah alone in the barn. He stood there for a long moment, feeling the weight of it all pressing down. 8 lives depending on his planning. 8 people who would die if he'd miscalculated, if he'd missed something, if luck simply wasn't with them. He thought of Thomas, sold to Mississippi after his failed escape. Thought of his own brother and sister, lost to Georgia and Alabama years ago. Thought of Hannah's face when she'd passed him the tea, the determination in her eyes. 3 days. Isaiah left the barn and made his way back to his room. The compound was quiet, everyone asleep or pretending to be. Somewhere in the darkness, Clara was probably lying awake too, knowing she'd set something in motion that couldn't be stopped. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he lay on his pallet and went through everything again. Supplies, routes, timing, contingencies. When dawn came and the roosters crowed, Isaiah rose to face another day of pretending. 2 more days of playing the obedient clerk. 2 more days of careful lies and hidden preparation. 2 more days until 8 people bet their lives on a desperate run for freedom. The morning sun broke over the plantation, and Isaiah walked to the big house with his head down and his mind sharp. The colonel was already in his study, sorting papers for the Charleston trip. "Ah, Isaiah. Good. I need you to prepare a full inventory of the study. Everything. I want to know exactly what's here when I return." "Yes, sir." Isaiah spent the day counting and recording, his hands steady even as his mind raced. Books, papers, supplies, all of it cataloged with meticulous care. The colonel watched him work, satisfied with his new clerk's diligence, if only he knew. That evening, as Isaiah returned to his room, he found a small piece of cloth tucked beneath his door. He unfolded it carefully. The message was written in crude letters, barely legible. "Thank you. I won't let you down." Isaiah burned the note in his lamp flame and watched the ashes fall. Clara's gratitude changed nothing. They were all committed now, all walking toward the same uncertain fate. He lay down and closed his eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. 2 more days of waiting. 2 more days of holding his breath and hoping no one noticed the tension coiling tighter with each passing hour. 2 more days until freedom or death. There was no middle ground anymore.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.